It has been forever, it feels like, since I talked to you all. I really missed being on here, and I'm excited to be back on because I have a lot to tell you guys. It's intense, so buckle up for this ride of what I'm about to tell you. But before I get into all the intense things that happened this year, I just want to say a heartfelt thank you to all of you. When I posted that video about Makeup Geek, the last video I posted before I kind of disappeared for a bit, that decision was not taken lightly by any means, but it was a little bit of a last minute decision because we had gotten through COVID, you know, by the skin of our teeth. Like every beauty brand out there, like obviously beauty brands everywhere were affected really, really hard by COVID, and we were no exception to that. What happened was our sales for holiday usually get us through the slow times at the beginning of the year. That's just how it is every single year, and they were not where we were expecting it for how long we needed to wait for reorders. So it was kind of a combination of sales were down for holiday, which is totally understandable because of everyone's worried about just putting food on their table and covering a roof over their head. So it just makes sense. But that combined with how long the lead times are now and the increased prices of everything after COVID was just kind of a recipe for a disaster. So that's the final nail in the coffin, was honestly just brutal effects from COVID, production lead times and all of that. So it was a hard decision to make. You guys know Makeup Geek is my baby. So it was not an easy decision, but I was nervous about posting that video, you guys, because I didn't know what the response was going to be. I knew there'd be some people saying, oh, Marlena should have done this and that, without knowing the brutal things that happened behind the scenes. I still to this day have not talked about. I will do another video when I'm ready, probably after the holidays, just very detailed and just laying it all out there. It's a lot, you guys. But after having such a rough time for so many years, honestly since 2016 has had a lot of just back-to-back things happen, I wasn't emotionally and mentally in a place where I wanted to deal with a lot of negativity and things like that. So I posted the video and then I didn't even watch it that day until that night, and I got back. We were working at the warehouse with our team in Michigan, just getting things wrapped up, you know, spending time with the team for the last bit before we knew that things were gonna shut down. My accountant called me and she said, Marlena, did you watch your video? I said, no, not yet. I just don't have the heart to right now. She said, you should. There's thousands of comments, Marlena. They're all positive. I think it would just be really good for you to read that. And she said, and by the way, this is what your sales were today. And sorry, I knew I was gonna cry in this video. This is literally the 8th time I've tried filming this, you guys, for months now. I've tried to post for 2 months. I didn't want to tell you in that video, you guys, that I was genuinely worried about what the future looked like. I'm very optimistic and I knew I was gonna start another business, but I didn't know what kind of foundation I was going to have. So when I posted that video the night before, I cried my eyes out, and I'm not trying to get religious, you guys, but I was praying so hard. I was like, I just have to leave this in God's hands and know that everything's gonna be okay so I can start something new. I didn't want to tell you guys what position I was in when I posted that video because that can feel very predatory. I didn't want to play a victim to try to pull a card or anything. I just posted it and I just had to have faith that, you know, we were still going to have some sales, which we've had for several months. Even right now, we still have sales on the Makeup Geek site, which is so insane to me because I haven't talked about it. I haven't posted anything on socials and that, and there's so much support, you guys. You're still purchasing products now. When she told me the sales that came in that day, you guys, I cried like bawling my eyes out like a big freaking baby that night because I could not believe that people, total strangers who don't know me in person, trusted me enough to purchase Makeup Geek products, not only when that video posted, but for the last several years. And it just hit me like a whirlwind because I didn't take time since Makeup Geek started to really stop and realize the magnitude of what it got to. Like, you guys, it went from 0 revenue in my parents' basement to a multi-million-dollar business with no investors, no loans or anything in less than 5 years. Like, that's insane. That's insane. On top of it, like, you know, Forbes features and MSNBC and a Netflix documentary and all these things. I had a life that I never dreamed even possible when I turned on that camera my first time on YouTube years ago. And that's because of you guys. And I don't have strong enough words to say how much gratitude I have. Like, saying thank you doesn't even feel like enough to tell you thank you for the life that you gave me. I feel so lucky and so blessed, and I don't know what else to say to you guys other than thank you. And I did my makeup today. I don't get to do my makeup very often now with a toddler. Anyways, I truly just wanted to say thank you guys for your support, and I would not have had any of this without you, so I'm gonna stop crying and tell you what all happened. So this year let's break it up into chapters. This summer, I don't know if you guys saw that I was on CNN, I was on Washington Post, ABC News, a lot of news outlets. I even had a Japanese film crew that came to my house about a month ago and flew in from Tokyo, like a whole crew, like 5 or 6 people. I thought it was just gonna be a couple people coming in. I opened my door and I was like, okay, there's an actual full-on film crew that flew here from Japan to hear my story. It's been wild, you guys. So that part of the story this year, what happened is I've been off of social media for the most part because so much has happened behind the scenes. And part of that was me being very vocal about my miscarriage story. I'm not gonna get into details because I did a video on that last year talking about my miscarriage, being here in Texas, the laws affecting that. It was brutal. It's hard for me still to talk about, even though I've talked about it a lot on news stations. I don't want to keep repeating it because it is very emotional for me, but I've been very vocal, especially on Twitter and all of that, because I don't want any other women to go what I went through and feeling so completely helpless in their own body, in their own experience of being pregnant and wanting this baby, having a miscarriage, and I have to fight for care. And what's crazy is the place I went to that had that procedure, you guys, is now closed down. So even if that happened to me right now, I can't say that I would even get any care at all. I can't guarantee that. I don't know. So I've been very vocal on that. So I wanted to tell my story. So long story short, CNN had seen my video, and I know everyone has opinions out there of different news stations they like or they hate or whatever. I don't care. I just care about people hearing my story so they see the reality of how the laws affect women, even like me, who want children and had this horrible experience and, you know, was left stranded without health care for that. CNN had approached me. They sent me a message saying we'd love to hear your story. My experience with them was absolutely amazing. And they did not tell me to say anything like this, you guys. They came to my home and they didn't ask me any questions ahead of time. They said they literally just sat down, the host Elizabeth and the producer were like, just tell your story, just sit here and speak and tell us what happened. They were so gracious, you guys, and they were so respectful in our home. And even after it aired, both the producer and the host messaged me, text messaged me, and asked if I was okay. I've never, in all of my years of being on all these different, you know, documentaries and films and interviews and all things like that, I've never had a team reach out to me after it aired and ask me genuinely just, are you okay? We're just checking on you. We know this is a difficult story. We just want to say thank you for sharing it and we hope you're okay. And that meant so much to me. So for that, they have my utmost respect because just the experience for what it was very smooth and just a genuine and real experience, and I appreciate that. So after that CNN clip had went up, I did another interview with them, and then ABC News had approached me, Washington Post had approached me, and Israel film crew, and then Japan. So it's literally went worldwide, you guys. It was just a wild roller coaster. So there was several months that I was talking about that. Obviously I have a lot to say on that matter, but I won't do it in this video because I'm not trying to get into that, you know, on this channel. But now rewind a little bit. So that was this summer. That's why I kind of disappeared a little bit too. Before that, you guys, before that video announcing Makeup Geek went up, on February 25th is when I had a medical emergency happen. So I've technically had 3 brutal health diagnoses this year. I'm trying not to get emotional about it. On February 25th, the night before we were to fly to Michigan for me to film that video and basically shut down everything at the warehouse in Michigan and move it all to Texas, because we live in Texas. The warehouse was in Michigan, my team was in Michigan. We were flying there the end of February to meet with the team, get final orders out, and pack everything up, like an entire warehouse of stuff packed up in 2 semi-trucks, have it shipped here to Texas. The night before our flight to head there, I was driving by the mall and just picking up some last minute things for our trip, and out of the blue I got hit with sudden and severe dizziness. I lost my vision. I lost feelings in my hands and legs. I got scared. I pulled over. I don't even know how, you guys, because it was like someone took Vaseline and rubbed it all over my eyeballs. I could not see. Got off on an exit, and I called my husband. I said, I think I'm having a panic attack. He's like, what's wrong? I was like, I can't see. I can't feel my arms or legs at all. And as I was talking to him, my speech started to slur. It was like he was asking where I was at. I was like, like I could not get the words out. He was like, you need to call 911. Your speech is slurring. He's like, I'll come get you, but call 911. So I called 911. I was trying to explain to them where I was at. Fortunately, they could find me. They said, put on your flashers. So I put on my flashers and I waited in my car what felt like forever. And I thought I was having a stroke. at this point, because I'm like, why is my speech slurring? So the paramedics came. It felt like forever. I got in the ambulance with them. They ran some tests and EKG. They saw my history of panic attacks, and I said, am I having a stroke? And they said, we don't think so. Maybe this is a panic attack, but do you want us to take you to the hospital? And I knew we were flying the next morning, you guys, to Michigan. Like, it's a huge deal. I'm going to tell the world I'm shutting down Makeup Geek. I'm meeting with my team. Our flights are booked for all 4 of us, me, my husband, my mom, my daughter. This is huge trip. I can't. So we went home and I was just praying. I was like, I hope, this doesn't happen. I don't know what's wrong with me. So that was February. Fast forward to May. We're back in Texas now. May 6th, I had another attack just like that happen, but it was at home. We called the paramedics again because I couldn't see. And this time I was delusional. I didn't know where I was at and I just was confused. I couldn't see. Paramedics came, and saw me actually in action, slurred speech and delusional. And they were like, okay, we think this might be a stroke. So they took me to the ER. Long story short, in the ER, they ran some tests. The doctor didn't believe me that I was having, what I thought was a stroke at that time, and saw my history of panic attacks and was like, brushed off like, oh, it's a panic attack, and left me in the waiting room for hours. Me and my husband, my symptoms started to calm down. I was like, I need tests. I want everything tested. This feels like something neurological. This is not a panic attack. I've had them for years. I've never had symptoms like this. They ran some tests. I found out the next day that my CT scan showed that I have intracranial hypertension, which is excess swelling and fluid under the skull, around the brain. And so that's what I have is my first diagnosis is that. So I'm on medication now for that. I went through a brutal several months this summer, you guys, of trying to find a neurologist. We drove to Dallas to go see someone. I had a spinal tap up there and crazy story. I mean, everyone was booked months out. And so we were calling everywhere in Texas trying to find someone. I was going to get on a flight and go back to Washington or California. I was like, I need to see someone. I can't just keep having these stroke episodes, especially behind the wheel of a car. I'm going to crash and die. We got my spinal tap fluid. The doctors didn't tell me anything. I was like, okay, well, maybe my spinal fluid was okay. We're still trying to find answers of what's going on. I go to pay my bill that they sent me and I was like, oh, I see test results here. So I click on the test results. I pull it up. Markers all up and down high for inflammation, like everything in my spinal fluid, albumin, IgGs, everything they tested high, and not just mildly high, you guys. Like a normal range is supposed to be under 8 for a couple of them. Mine was 96. Massive inflammation in my spinal fluid. I was getting nowhere with regular doctors. I did every test known to man. You guys, I'm not even joking. I've spent months, you guys, like living at the hospital and the doctors. I've seen a cardiologist, endocrinologist, my primary physician, a neurologist, you name it, any sort of specialty doctor, and any test like MRIs, blood work, out the yin yang. I've done it all and just trying to get answers. So finally my functional doctor, who is an actual MD, has her license, is legit. I was telling her my symptoms. I'm having these stroke-like episodes. Ironically, it happened after we got COVID in December. That's a whole nother video I'll talk about in a second, you guys. Functional doctor looked at me. She's like, I would guarantee you have Lyme disease, Marlena, just by your symptoms. Let's get you tested. Had blood work done. I waited a month. I found out my test came back positive for Lyme disease. So that's my second diagnosis, is I have Lyme disease and I have intracranial hypertension. So what we believe happened after months and months of living at the hospital, that's why I have not filmed, you guys, as I've literally been just dealing with health stuff and feeling like crap. Like most days I'm fatigued, I'm dizzy, I have headaches, I can't, like honestly, you guys, I'm getting emotional again. I'm so sorry. But I have to tell you guys this because this is where my gratitude is even more magnified, is because if it was not for you guys and your support, if I was working a regular 9-to-5 job teaching like I did years ago, I would literally probably be on disability right now. But the fact that you guys have supported me through Makeup Geek and all of that, I was able to actually have time this year to spend time with my daughter and do all these tests and just try to be okay and still do things behind the scenes for the next business I'm working on and all that. But I would not have been able to do that if it wasn't for your guys' support. Sorry. So that's why when I say thank you, I'm like, thank you's not even strong enough. Sorry, I I was not trying to cry through this whole video, you guys. Craziness is through all of that for a good couple months or so when I saw the neurologist before we found out I have Lyme disease, they thought I had MS. And in my mind, I'm stressing out. I'm like, okay, I'm shutting down my company. I have a toddler. And if I have MS, like, I don't even know what my future looks like right now. Fortunately, after the last round of MRIs that I had done just a couple months ago, they ruled out the MS and said right now they think it's just the Lyme disease. So I'm under treatment for that. I'm under like tons of like antibiotics, and I'm doing a therapy. It's called SOT therapy, and some other things for the Lyme disease to try to get the symptoms to calm down. So right now I'm like stable enough to function. I don't know, and I'm gonna have another stroke attack because the last one I had was October 14th. So I've had 3 of those stroke-like episodes now. So my poor husband, like, he's been driving me everywhere to all my appointments and stuff, helping me with Audie. Him and my mom have been the ones that have gotten the Makeup Geek packages out for people still purchasing and stuff. So if you guys get a package that has like a signature on it, it's probably my mom. My husband was the one that did all the labels and packaged and stuff. So it's like it's a real family thing going on right now. It's just been a wild ride, you guys. So all of that is to say that's kind of why it disappeared this year, was just massive health stuff, me being very vocal on news stations about my miscarriage story. And then also on top of that, I've been working on, in between the feeling like crap and health stuff, I've been working on the next business, you guys, because I know everyone's like, you're crazy, like just take a break or whatever, but it makes me so happy, you guys. Like, I love business. I love starting brands from the ground up. I actually enjoy it more in the beginning. That's my favorite part. It's more creative. So I'm so excited. Like, I'm on fire, you guys. And when I tell you this year that things have dropped into my lap that I could never even predict, you guys, it's like when I finally came at peace, because I've known for a while that I needed to close the chapter of Makeup Geek, but I didn't want to because it was like my baby and I was so attached to it. So it's hard to close a chapter of something you love so dearly. But when I finally came to peace with that, you guys, like, I'm telling you, the doors that have opened since then have been wild. It's like God and the universe were like, okay, let's do stage 2. We're ready, Marlena. Like, I've made connections with people in the industry that have worked with massive brands and stuff. I'm so excited, you guys. So the last 6 months, I have been taking intense courses, learning about the next brand that I'm about to launch, just studying, you know, product development and things like that on what I'm working on next. And also I've done like business classes. I did a Tony Robbins conference. I did a brand builders conference. I've read books. I found a mentor. I'm so grossly involved in making sure that the next business I build is 100% legit, done well from the ground up. Like, I mean, if you guys think Makeup Geek took off, just wait till you see what I can do after learning everything I did with Makeup Geek and starting something new. Like, I am so on fire, you guys. And I'm telling you, the people I'm working with right now are beyond amazing and so excited to help me build this brand. I can't wait to tell you guys. So that will launch next year. It's slated for fall of next year. I need time to do everything properly and really study and make sure that everything is done to the best that I possibly can. So I've been doing that. And then as far as Makeup Geek goes, because everyone's like, well, what's happening with Makeup Geek? Is it just gone or whatever? Right now, the site is still up. We're still selling some products. It's still heavily discounted right now. When the product runs out early next year is what we're slating, is when I will turn that into an educational hub. So I've already been working now on making that an educational site, videos, PDFs, guides, you know, Zoom classes we're gonna do. Like, it'll be this insane portal of an online academy for makeup. And I'm so excited. It'll be including like some makeup business things, like, you know, behind the scenes stuff. So that's gonna launch early next year as well. That will be on the Makeup Geek site. And then as far as the future of that company, it depends on if any investors want it or someone wants to buy it or whatever. I don't know. Or if I just lay low for a while and bring it back at a later time when the effects of COVID, you know, have smoothed out even more than they are right now. So we'll see. I don't know. I wish I could say everything with that, but I know right now it's just, you know, it's on a pause, it's on a hold, and it will become an educational hub. So the site is still there. It's still up, you guys. And in the meantime, I'm working on a new brand that I'm so excited about. Like it lights my fire, lights my soul on fire. So that is what I'm doing. As the time goes along, you guys, I will share with you what it is. I will take you on the whole journey with me so you can see literally from scratch how to build a brand. I'm going to show you guys all of that as time kind of goes on. So I have a cool series I'm doing. It's called Mornings with Marlena, where we sit and do makeup together, but we talk about real life topics as we're doing our makeup. So I'm excited for that because some of the topics are like, they're intense, you guys. Those are going to launch every Monday. So I've been filming those. Those are going to come out soon. And then I'm also doing a podcast as well that talks about those same real life topics that are centered mainly around women's issues and things. So I just have a lot to say. I have a lot of things that have happened to me that I want to share with the world that I think will help some other women out there too. It's all coming for next year, you guys. I'm telling you, buckle up. Stage 2 is going to be crazy. So again, you guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all your support. I can't even sit here and talk about it because I cry every single time, because I know I'm just a stranger sitting here behind a camera, and I know parasocial relationships are very different and odd, and I try to never cross that boundary or whatever, but I just sitting here as a woman who has had a company that was the success it was because of you guys, I can't help but just say, like, from the bottom of my heart, I'm so grateful for you guys. So thank you for everything. Like, you gave me an amazing life, and I owe you just immense gratitude for that. So I'm gonna stop crying. Everything moving forward is all positive, you guys. These are actually happy tears, I promise. I'm back here on YouTube. I have a lot of great things to share with you guys that I'm really excited about. I feel rejuvenated. I feel enlightened. Not had enough coffee today, but I'm back, you guys. So thank you so much for your patience with me. I've missed you, and I hope you're doing great, and I will see you very soon. Bye.